Why should college students care about climate change? Temperatures rising, oceans warming, ice caps melting, and sea levels elevating. What do these four characteristics have in common? Yep, you've got it. They're all four consequences of climate change and reasons why we, as college students, should care about climate change. Today, we will go into and discuss why college students should care about climate change. In an exploration of this topic, we will answer numerous questions. What is climate change? What causes climate change? What are the dangers involved with climate change? What is the solution, or what should we be doing to combat climate change? Who does it affect, and who should care about it? Why specifically should we as college students care? And lastly, we will explore any current efforts to educate the public on climate change. What is climate change? As defined by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency on their website just this year, climate change refers to any substantial or significant change in the measure of climate lasting for an extended period of time. Another definition of climate change, as posted on NASA's website, simply states that climate change is a change in the typical or average weather patterns of a specific region or city. For example, it would be a change in the average weather in Aberdeen, South Dakota over an extended period of time, often several decades or even longer sometimes. Climate change can lead to changes in temperature, precipitation, and wind patterns, just to name a few. As reported by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency on their website, Earth has raised in temperature 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit in the past century. In addition, they predict that half a degree to 8.6 degrees could further increase over the next 100 years. Climate change also can lead to intense rainfalls, leading to floods, or on the other hand, it could restrict rainfall, leading to droughts. Lastly, climate change causes more frequent and more severe heat waves. These are a few of the consequences and why the changes in our climate over the numerous decades have impacted the Earth and why college students like us should care about climate change.
What causes climate change? According to an Environmental Protection Agency article of 2016, scientists have pieced together a record of Earth's climate, dating back hundreds and thousands of years. They analyzed a number of indirect measures of climate, such as ice cores, tree rings, glacier lengths, pollen remains, and ocean sediments, and by studying the changes in Earth's orbit around the Sun. This record shows that the climate system varies naturally over a wide range of timescales. Overall, climate changes prior to the Industrial Revolution in the 1700s can be explained by natural causes, such as changes in solar energy, volcanic eruptions, and natural changes in greenhouse gas concentrations. However, recent climate changes cannot be explained by natural causes alone. Research indicated that natural causes do not explain most warming, especially since the mid-20th century. Rather, it is extremely likely that human activities have been the dominant cause of that warming. Human influences on the climate system have increased substantially. These influences include the burning of fossil fuels and the conversion of land for forestry and agriculture. Greenhouse gases from human activities are the most significant driver of observed climate change. In the United States, greenhouse gas emissions caused by human activities increased by 7% from 1990 to 2014. Carbon dioxide accounts for most of the nation's emissions and most of the increase since 1990. Electricity generation is the largest source of greenhouse gases in the United States, followed by transportation. According to an article titled Climate Change Indicators, climate forcing refers to a change in the Earth's energy balance, leading to either a warming or cooling effect over time. From 1990 to 2015, the total warming effect from the greenhouse gases added by humans to the Earth's atmosphere increased by 37%. The warming effect with carbon dioxide alone increased by 30%. The Midwest is the center of our nation's carbon pollution problems. 6 Midwest states cause 22% of our nation's and 5% of our world's CO2 pollution. This pollution is generated primarily by our region's heavy concentration of oil, highly polluting coal plants, and the transportation hub centered in Chicago. But carbon dioxide isn't the only issue. Gases including methane and nitrous oxide are also produced in significant quantities, released through various sources, including animal waste and fertilizer use. Livestock farming produces 37% and 65% of our global methane and nitrous oxide emissions, respectively. Both gases are much more potent than carbon dioxide.
What are the dangers involved with climate change? According to brightfuture.us, climate change is a rise in the average global temperature. Climate change is something that we all have heard of, but most people really don't talk about its effects. But it does affect us in ways we can and can't see. But for myself as a farm kid, I see the effects that warm winters and dry summers can change how wildlife and plants survive in harsh conditions. According to nature.org, higher temps, changing landscapes and habitats, rising seas, increased risks of storms, drought, communities, and economies can all be affected by climate change. For us upcoming college students, climate change will greatly affect what we will do in the future. But as we grow older, we will be the next group of adults that have to worry about the situation and find ways to handle the ever-growing problem. For us as college students, we are looking to the future to try to see which degree fits us best. But as we search hoping to choose a profession that will benefit us as an individual, we have to consider the effects that the world may have on our profession. Global warming tends to cause the Earth to do things it's not used to doing, but we can't control what it does. Global warming has effects on plants and animals we see every day, but those effects usually can't be seen on a day-to-day basis. According to nature.org, even the change of degree can upset the balance of a small ecosystem, which one ecosystem being affected by another, it will cause problems to the next ecosystem down the line. And ecosystems do depend on each other, which that will start a bigger downfall on our plants and grain farming that everyone depends on to live and grow every day. So according to EPA Gov, our health is being affected by global warming in every day. The constant rising temperature tends to cause higher stress on the body, but the people that aren't affected most by rising temperature are people in developed countries, and the people that lived in non-developed countries tend to have more exposure to heat, climate change, and everlasting drought. Like us around here, we could just go inside into the air conditioning and say, boy, it's hot outside. But the people in Africa can't go inside their air-conditioned house and say, it's hot out. They have to sit out and bear the heat until the night comes, hoping the next day will be cooler. For years, climate change has been a problem, but we as people haven't noticed it until it has affected our businesses or the plants and life forms around us. Like a farmer or a fisherman, the climate has a lot to do with how we go about your day. And if it's constantly raining or storming, we can't do our job. You can't go out and fish for your big fishing company, or you can't go out and plant your corn or beans, or go out and combine, spray, any of those type of things. That all falls back onto the rest of the world, whether they get to eat or not. So if somebody can't get their their crop planted, or their cows sorted to be able to be sent to the packing plant for hamburger or steaks or whatever the beef is being turned into, it turns back onto the climate on not allowing people to do the things they need to be successful, to produce the products that need produced. So that's why climate change can really truly affect us, even if we don't see it. But climate change is becoming more and more of a problem, and it's something that really needs to be fixed.
Now, I want to talk to you about the solutions for climate change, what we as college students should be doing. Here I have 10 solutions for climate change from an article by David Bilo with Scientific American. 1. Forgo fossil fuel. Eliminate the burning of coal, oil, and natural gases. 2. Infrastructure upgrade. Make the necessary changes to have more energy efficient buildings and better roads that will lead to better fuel economies and help cut greenhouse gas emissions. 3. Move closer to work. Transportation is the second leading source of greenhouse gas emission in the US. 1 gallon of gas burned creates 20 pounds of carbon dioxide. By cutting down on long distance travel or several short distance trips will help. 4. Consume less. Buy less or think green when making purchases, such as environmentally friendly cars, reusable grocery sacks, and buying in bulk to reduce the amount of packaging on products. 5. Be efficient. Do more with less. Replace old appliances like refrigerators or air conditioners with newer, more efficient ones. They can save energy and cut electrical bills, and it can be as easy as just turning off the lights when you leave a room. 6. Eat smart. Choose food items that balance nutrient, taste, and ecological impact. 7. Stop cutting down trees. Improving agricultural practices, recycling papers, and better forest management can help to eliminate emission. 8. Unplug. Unplugging devices instead of simply turning them off. Efficient battery chargers could save more than 1 billion kilowatt hours of electricity, which is about $100 million in today's electricity prices. 9. One child. Our growing population has brought to question how many people our planet can sustain. More humans means more greenhouse gas emission. 10. Lastly, future fuels. We need to continue working to replace the use of fossil fuels. As college students, not all of these directly apply to us, but it is something to keep in mind when we are one day starting a family, building and furnishing our own home, or find ourselves driving 45 minutes to work every day. By doing these 10 simple steps, we can help to stop greenhouse gas emission and do our part to end climate change.
Who does global warming affect? We have all learned about global warming, whether it was in school, online, from your friends or family, or even just something that you read. But depending on your age or the point of life that you were in, you just put this topic on your back burner. The scary fact about global warming is that it affects everyone, no matter their age, race, religion, gender, or location on the earth. Global warming is a composing threat that is starting to threaten more people now, and it's time for us to bond together to prevent this. Global warming is producing a higher average climate, which is causing negative side effects for the people of Earth. According to Wenxi Luang's 2016 article titled, "Studies Show That Hot Weather Brings Out the Worst in Us," hot weather has been linked to higher rates of aggression, violence, and suicide rates. The anger peaks are beginning to match the peaks in temperature, and this is causing threats to warmer and colder climate areas. When given the topic, who should care about global warming, it's easy to think that everyone should care about global warming. Now, you may be thinking, why should older people or younger children care about global warming? Maybe it's too early or it's too late for them to think about it. But think of the future. Young children may be oblivious to the unraveling terrors caused by global warming, but when they mature, they will have to deal with this more than the generation right now. It is thought that the world needs to reduce their negative effects by almost 60%. Some of these negative acts can include driving, airplanes, emissions from factories, or even cutting down trees. Trees are available to filter out the air that release the negative effects. If the current generation does not reduce the emissions, there is no telling how the young children will be able to fill up the shoes when it's their turn to take control. Older generations may live to see the full side effects, but they also have children, grandchildren, future generations that will have to carry out their legacy. How can you carry out your own legacy when there's not even a world to live on? Getting everyone to care about global warming may seem like a near impossible mission, but according to Christina Beck's 2016 article titled, "Fewer Americans Doubt Climate Change," 60% of Americans believe that there is evidence that there is global warming occurring. Many people thought in the early years that global warming was just a hoax set up by the government to get more money and to put fear into the Americans. Now, I know that global warming does not only deal with America, but other countries are further ahead, already establishing laws discussing global warming at a higher climate. When asked who should care about global warming, you can think about your own answer, but I believe that everybody should care about global warming and the future of our planet.
Why should college students care about climate change? Many students our age don't see climate change as an issue. They think it will not affect their lives because it hasn't affected the lives that came before them. Well, sooner rather than later, it's going to be a problem. If not for us, then for those after us. Climate change is a serious issue that college students will have to face in the future and could affect their children's lives. The main reason we should care about climate change is because it will be our problem much sooner than most think. That is not necessarily a bad thing. We could go down as the generation that revitalizes our planet's health. Or we could just be another generation that failed to act. I know which generation I want to be a part of. We are the upcoming leaders of the world, and with some of the most brilliant minds at our disposal, why shouldn't we be the ones to disabuse this infection we have brought upon ourselves? The time for our predecessors to repair our failing climate has all but diminished. These people realize that climate change won't affect their lives because, quite honestly, they'll have passed away. It will, however, affect our lives. The oceans could rise up to 10 feet in just the next century. Burdens like this will be ours in the near future, and we need to rid ourselves of them quickly so that our children can live in a better environment than we do today. Yes, our children. Maybe you haven't thought that far ahead, but who do you think will have to clean up after we're gone if we can't slow climate change? I want my kids to live lives where climate change is the last thing on their mind. And if we don't stop it, there will be no telling if it will be too late. I believe that we have the opportunity to make our kids live in a different world than we do. However, that could be better or worse, solely depending on our actions. Don't believe me? NASA states in a 2016 article titled Climate Change, How Do We Know? That before 1950, the carbon dioxide level was never over 300 parts per million. Now it is over 400 parts per million and rising. This caused the temperature to rise 0.87 degrees Celsius, which in turn led to an 8 centimeter increase in the sea level in the last 20 years. Still think our kids' lives won't be affected? Climate change is our problem, and it is clearly something that could affect our kids. If you're stubborn enough not to believe in climate change, even after this speech, then I advise you to look around. Climate change is evident all around us and is something everyone should care about, but especially college students, as they will be affected most by it.
Are there current efforts to educate the public on the dangers of climate change? The answer is yes, but not enough for three main reasons. First, people do not understand what climate change is. Second, the effects have been overlooked. And lastly, not enough is being done to educate the public. Not just here, but everywhere. According to New York Times in their 2016 article titled Japan is Obsessed with Climate Change, young people don't get it. A recent survey by the Pew Research Center showed that 75% of Japanese citizens over the age of 50 said global warming was a major threat, compared to the mere 59% of people ages 18 to 34. Japan has been trying to recognize the threat of climate change for a while, but have been experiencing resistance from young people who say there are more pressing problems. Also, according to Project Syndicate in their 2016 article titled Why Climate Change is an Education Issue, America has been having issues promoting climate change to people as well. In a most recent Pew study, 7 out of 10 Americans said that they were not concerned that climate change would hurt them. It is clear that not enough is being done to educate the public, specifically younger people, on the effects of climate change. Are there different ways to approach this? There are plenty of ways to educate the public more on climate change. Disney recently released a movie called Moana that was created to address climate change and express awareness. Throughout the movie, there were several different references on why climate change is important and why we should make changes to the current status of awareness. According to Daily Evergreen in their 2016 article titled Moana Raises Awareness of Pacific Islander Culture, the awareness for climate change could not come at a better time. On a smaller scale, there are other ways to gain awareness as well. Different projects could be done and participated in throughout communities to raise awareness for everybody. Can more education be done? People everywhere can be educated more about climate change. There is not enough awareness anywhere about climate change simply because people do not understand it. More education and understanding is crucial to the effects that climate change could end up having in the long run in America. Can we propose new ideas to educate the public? There are plenty of new ideas that could help to raise awareness about climate change. Other countries all around the world do different activities to help spread awareness. According to Jamaica Observer in their 2016 article titled Climate Change Awareness Week, Jamaica has dedicated a week of activities to help educate the public on the effects of climate change. And it seems to be working pretty well. There are several different activities throughout the week that help to educate people of all ages. A week like this can be very beneficial in America, especially to the young people throughout society. It would help them understand more what climate change is.
In conclusion, as seen throughout our discussion, there are a number of reasons why college students should care about climate change. Again, climate change is simply a change in the typical or average weather patterns of a specific region or city. Prior to the Industrial Revolution, the causes of climate change were natural causes, such as changes in solar energy, volcanic eruptions, and natural changes in greenhouse gas emissions. Since then, however, human activity has caused climate change. Greenhouse gases from human activity have been the most significant driver of observed climate change today. Many dangers are involved with climate change, and if it hasn't impacted you yet, it will impact you in the future. In addition, climate change is impacting and hindering and will continue to hinder businesses such as farming and ranching. It also impacts consumers who expect to get food from these farmers and ranchers. In order to combat climate change, there are a few things we should be doing today. First, we need to decrease the burning of fossil fuels and search for future fuels to be used. As college students particularly, we can decrease our transportation usage, consume less, eat smarter, and be more efficient. Also, we should stop cutting down trees and make upgrades to our infrastructure in order to decrease the rate at which our climate is changing. Climate change affects everyone, and if it doesn't affect you today, it will affect you in the future. Specifically, college students like us should care about climate change, as climate change will be on our shoulders and affect our children in the future. Currently, there are minimal efforts to educate the public on the dangers involved with climate change. We propose that a Climate Change Awareness Week be made in America in order to further educate the public and bring about awareness of climate change. Thus, based on the reasons we have discussed, college students should care about climate change.